So right here, folks, I have a 2012 MacBook Pro. Now, you may notice something a bit different about this MacBook Pro to those eagle-eyed viewers out there, and that is it's running the latest version of Mac OS Monterey. And the reason why this is possible is because of a piece of software out there called OpenCore. And today, I want to show you how you can install the latest version of Mac OS Monterey on an unsupported Mac, just like this MacBook Pro right here. And I'm going to give you the full guide and steps in how to do this and everything that you need to know and everything that you need to have to do this. So without further ado, let's get started. Now, as you can see here, I have three older MacBooks. I have a MacBook here from 2011, and I also have a MacBook Air from 2014, and I also have a MacBook Pro, also 2012 model. And just because they're an older model doesn't mean it can't run the latest version of Mac OS officially, but you can actually install the latest version of Mac OS on an unsupported Mac. And like I said, this is what I want to do today. I want to show you how this is completely possible. Now, just before I get started with this, guys, there are a few bits and pieces that you should know. Now, first of all, backup. The first thing I would recommend if you're going to go through with this guide, do a backup of everything on your machine. Maybe do a time machine backup. Just make sure you do it, because if anything goes wrong, at least you can revert back to your older version of Mac OS and get everything back again. The other thing I also want to say at this point is that some Macs are just not compatible with the latest version of Mac OS Monterey. And I will get over what Macs can do this and how you can identify if your Mac is compatible. Something else is that not all software may work on your Mac. So what I'm talking about here is, say if you get the latest version of, say, Office 365 and you've got yourself a 2008 MacBook, it might not work on your machine. I don't say it will and I can't say it won't. I'm just saying just be careful that some software is just not compatible. And what I'm going to say here is that this guide is just to show you how to install Mac OS Monterey. Now, if any of you guys out there have an older MacBook and managed to install Monterey and get software installed, and some people out there just don't know how to get their software working, please do help them in the community here on the comments here. It'd be great to help each other out, and I'll try and chip in if I can, if I do know the answers. But I'll be honest with you, all I'm going to show you, like I said again, is just to show you how to install Mac OS on an older Mac. But what I'm not going to do is go through a list of software what does work and doesn't work. Those are things that are going to have to be discovered. And if most of the software that you want to run doesn't work, at least you've got that backup, what I'm recommending you guys to do, to go back to, and then you can revert your Mac back to that old state and use your software again. Now, to install the latest version of Mac OS Monterey using OpenCore, I am going to tell you right now, you will be wiping your hard drive. And this is again why I'm stressing about definitely backing up your hard drive. It needs to be done, because you'll be completely wiping the current Mac OS what's on your machine right now with a new version. It won't be a simple upgrade. So anything what's going to be on your hard drive right now is going to go. But if you do have a machine with two hard drives, maybe you can copy everything over to your second hard drive if you have got that. The other thing is that you do need some bits and pieces to do this upgrade, and one of the key things that you will need is one of these. Now, this is a USB stick if you can't see that right now, and what you'll need is at least a 16 gigabyte USB stick, and it needs to be a 2.0 or 3.0 USB. And basically, especially if it's an older Mac, I can tell you right now, you'll have the standard kind of port on your machine, so you'll need to make sure it's definitely the standard kind of USB-A kind of port, and you'll need at least 16 gigabyte RAM. It's like 16 gigabytes of storage, like I said right here. The other thing as well is, if you do have like the MacBook Pro, what I'm showing right here, you can upgrade the RAM inside it. Some Macs you can't, some Macs you can. So basically, some of the older MacBooks and some of the older iMacs, you can actually upgrade the RAM, and I'd recommend at least having 8 gigabytes of RAM inside it to get really good performance. If you do have an older Mac that has less RAM, not to worry, it will probably still work, but maybe the performance might not be as good as at least having 8 gigabytes of RAM. And the reason why I say 8 gigabytes of RAM is because Monterey at the moment runs on computers that are basically got 8 gigabytes of RAM or more inside them. So it makes sense, you need to upgrade your RAM if you can do that. If you can't, not to worry. Like I said, it will still work, but it might be a little bit slow in places. But if you can do an upgrade, definitely put some more RAM inside, and the best way to do it is look up what Mac you've got and then figure out if you can do any upgrades inside it. The other thing what goes along with that is that if you have a spinny drive inside it, one of these, I call it a spinny drive, it's the good old-fashioned type of drive that spins around, makes a loud noise or something like that, see if you can upgrade it to an SSD if you can. So if you can pull out the hard drive, change it to an SSD, I would definitely recommend doing that first of all, and basically installing the current version of Mac OS that you have right now onto your Mac. And you can do this via like internet recovery or downloading it onto another USB stick. And there's loads of guys out on the internet right now on how to do that, how to basically install an SSD and install sort of Mac OS onto it. So do that first of all. And like I said, if you can't upgrade it with your SSD and you have to stick with a spinny drive, okay, you can do that, but just be warned, it will be slow. Especially, again, like I said, if you've got a small amount of RAM inside, yeah, you're going to feel the pain a bit. It's going to be a bit slow for you. So definitely, if you can upgrade the RAM and if you can upgrade the SSD, definitely worth doing so. Well, with that out of the way, guys, let's talk about then OpenCore and where you go and get it to install Mac OS. So I'll stress it again, make sure you're on the latest version of Mac OS that your current Mac can be on right now, and also make sure you have done a full backup of your hard drive like a time machine backup. After this, what you want to do is go onto your browser and then type in OpenCore Legacy Patcher. Just type it in and it should be the first result that you see, like what I've got right here. After that, click in to go to the website. After clicking through, you should be on this website here with this logo, and what you want to do after this is move your mouse over to getting started, click on this, and then after this we want to click on supported models right here. So click on this, and then basically what we'll get now is a list of all the supported models. Now if you don't know what Mac you have got, what you can do is open up the app terminal, what's built into your Mac. So all you have to do is just look for this in your applications or just use the search in it, and then basically put in this piece of code up here in this black box. Literally copy and paste what you see in this box. You can highlight it, copy, and then right click and paste in terminal, and it should tell you what Mac you have got. After this, what you want to do is basically choose what kind of Mac you have. So if you've got a MacBook, a MacBook Air, MacBook Pro, Mac Mini, or whatever you've got, what you can do is that you can start scrolling down this list and then find what Mac is yours, and then identify if it can be used with OpenCore Legacy Patcher and updated to Mac OS Monterey. As you can see here though, some Macs just won't work at all. You'll see a no like you have here with these MacBook Pros, but you also get ones that will say yes as well. And as you can see just a bit more further down here, you can see the Mac that I'm going to be using, the MacBook Pro, the mid 2012 model, and as you can see it is compatible. Now there are some that will say they will need some patches like this GPU acceleration, what says in public beta, on some of these other machines that you can see right here, and that's all built into the OpenCore Legacy, and I'll show you how to install them if your Mac does fall into this. So don't worry, it's all built into the actual patcher. You don't need to get anything additional. Now I am giving you guys the guide here on how to install OpenCore Legacy Patcher and how to install the latest version of Mac OS Monterey, but if you do need any other help and bits and pieces, definitely come back to this website. There's a great lot of help here. So if you do get any stucks or any known issues with certain types of Macs, all the information is here. So make sure you've got your iPhone or phone or something else open on this webpage just in case you do get stuck. So after identifying that your Mac is compatible, what you want to do is basically go over to the side here and click on download and build macOS installer. As I have said right at the beginning of this video, you will need a 16 gigabyte USB stick, so make sure you definitely have one of those handy. You don't need to plug this in just yet, but what you want to do is you want to go down to the OpenCore Legacy Patcher Release Apps, click on this link, and it will take you to a new site. Now don't worry if the version is a little bit higher than what you got here, and also the amount of days. This is the current version 0.45, and if there is a newer version, definitely download it because the actual installation won't be any different. In fact, you'll basically have better patches inside a newer version. So yeah, download the latest version, and you can do that by scrolling down a bit more further, and you'll want to download the OpenCore Patcher GUI app or GUI app. You don't want to install the TUI, you want to install the GUI. So definitely make sure you click on that and then click on it, and it should start downloading. Right, with that downloading, I'm going to switch back to my camera view of my screen now, and I'm going to show you guys how to install OpenCore Legacy Patcher with macOS Monterey. So whilst that's downloading, I thought I'd just quickly show you here that this is macOS Catalina on a 2012 MacBook Pro. And like I said, this is the highest version of macOS what can run on this machine right now, officially, not unsupported, but officially with that. And as you can see here, it's a dual core i5. I've got 10 gigabytes of RAM inside it as well, and also I've got a built-in sort of graphics as well, HD 4000. And then moving over to my RAM, I've actually got 10 gigabytes of RAM inside this. Like I said, you need probably at least a minimum of 8 gigabytes if you can do that. If your Mac cannot be upgraded, not to worry, but basically Monterey runs on at least 8 gigabytes, so it would help if you can actually have 8 gigabytes inside it if you can upgrade. Like I said, not to worry if you can't do that. And then moving over to the actual storage, as you can see, I've actually got 2 hard drives in here. I actually removed the main hard drive. I've got the actual main sort of SSD drive, what I'm going to install Monterey onto, what macOS is on right now. And I've also got my secondary drive as well. Like I did say, I did actually remove the DVD drive to put in this SSD. And if you can do that, it's worth actually having 2 hard drives, because who uses a CD player these days anyway? But that's a story for another day. But as you can see here, all ready to go. And I'd recommend at least having around about 64 gigabytes of hard disk space. So basically, if your hard drive is completely wiped, make sure it's got a 64 gigabyte drive inside at least to install the latest version of macOS. Right, next of all, what we want to do is get our USB stick, and like I've already mentioned, it needs to be at least 16 gigabytes in size. What we want to do is wipe this drive. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to plug it into my USB ports here on the side of my Mac, and you need to do the same with yours. Then after this, what we want to do is we want to go to the search right in the top corner up here. We can see that we've got the SanDisk already plugged in, and what we want to do is type in disk utility. It should start already auto-filling, and then what you can do is you can click on this or press enter on your keyboard to go into this. Once it's loaded, it will take a few seconds to do so. What we want to do is we want to actually highlight our actual SanDisk, as you can see here. Now, my SanDisk USB stick is actually 128 gigabytes, as you can see here, so it's definitely the right one. What we want to do is click erase, and then what we want to do is change it to macOS journaled, and then we want to erase it. Once this is fully erased, it won't take too long to do, and especially if you're on USB 3.0, it should be quite quick. If it's on 2.0, it might take a little bit longer. What we're going to do is just close down disk utility, and then we want to open up OpenCore next of all. So I'm going to open up OpenCore from my stack down here, my download stack, and click on that. You can open it up in your Finder if you wanted to do so. So if you haven't got this stack, do it from your Finder. Once it's opened up, it might take a second or two. You may get a security message for it to say to open up. If you do get that, just go into your settings here, go onto this little house with a cog inside it like this, and then you should get a message here saying, will you allow this app? So you just have to allow it to happen, and it should be absolutely fine. And you might have to change your padlock, you have to put your password in to do so. But after this is completely done, you should be able to open up the app. Also, you can change the setting here as well if you wanted to do that to allow unknown apps as well. So just closing that down. But once you do have it open, you should see here what you have got with the OpenCore. So you can see my model of my MacBook at the top here. And what we want to do after this, we want to go create Mac OS installer, the third option. And then basically, if you did actually have the latest version of Mac OS installed on your machine, you would be using this option here, use existing Mac OS installer. But because we cannot get the latest version officially on this Mac, what we have to do is we'll have to select the other option, what is download Mac OS installer. And what this will do, it will find the latest version of macOS that are out there right now. So we have 3 options here. So we have macOS beta at the bottom here, and this is basically the beta version of Monterey, and we don't really want to select this. The actual option we want to select is this middle one right here, because we want the official version, and also this top version here is the last version of macOS. So I believe that was macOS Big Sur, but because we want to install the current version of macOS and a stable one, we want macOS 12.4. we don't want the beta. So we're going to click on this, and what will start to happen, it will start to download it. Now, depending on what type of hard drive you have inside, and also how fast your internet is, it depends on how long this will take to download. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to skip this to the end, and basically what you guys can do is just pause this video for now until you've completely downloaded macOS onto your machine. Once it's fully downloaded onto your Mac, what will happen is a verification check. Don't worry at all about this. It's just to double check that the version of macOS that you've just downloaded, everything has been fully downloaded. So just let this run and complete as well. But once that is complete, you will need to type in your Mac password when it completes here. There we go. So just type this in again. I've just set mine as 1234 for this example. This isn't my password, by the way, but just for this example here, I've just done that. And it will just complete and dump basically the brand new version of macOS into your application folder as it is saying right here. The next step what you'll get is basically install macOS Monterey. You want to click on this and basically we want to install this onto our USB sticks that we just wiped a second ago. So click on this. It might take a second or two to load up what drives there are. And there we go. There's my 128 gigabyte SanDisk drive. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to select this and it's going to wipe it again, but it's going to wipe it to the right version to install macOS Monterey on it. So I'm just going to select this now. And then basically it's going to copy everything over after you put in your password one more time again, and we're just going to leave this run. So again, depending if you've got USB 3.0 or USB 2.0, it's how quick this will copy over to your USB stick. So you might just want to leave this run again until this completes. Now I will say this, that you might have seen that the SanDisk icons disappeared off my screen. The same thing might happen to you with your USB stick, as you've got nothing to worry about here. It will keep flashing away and coming back again. It hasn't gone. Just leave it fully complete and do not worry if it disappears for the whole of this installation part right here. Now after this completes, you will get this message here which says install OpenCore to disk, but what you want to do is actually click skip now. And the reason why I want to press skip, I just find it easier to do this way round to make sure you've definitely got everything installed correctly on your Mac. Right, I just clicked back, return to main menu. Now we're going to do the next step. Now after this step, there is no turning back. This is it then. So basically make sure your machine is definitely backed up, like I've said about 5 times in this video, and basically make sure you've got everything ready to go, because after this is it. Your hard drive is wiped. So definitely make sure you have got that backup of your old data. Right, next of all, what we want to do then is we want to press build and install OpenCore. And as you can see here, I'm just going to move this up a little bit. What we want to do is press this top button right at the top, build OpenCore. And this is going to install some patches and bits and pieces. And what we want to do after this, we're going to get this message up here and we want to click install to disk. Now we want to install this to the SSD drive or our main hard drive built inside our machine, inside our Mac right now. So as I did show earlier, I did have a 500 gigabyte spinny drive. I'm not going to install it on that as Mac OS will be quite slow. So like I said, if you do have a spinny drive, I'd highly recommend upgrading to an SSD. Now my SSD is in the middle, but at the bottom here what you can see is actually my USB sticks. We don't want to install onto that. We want to select the middle one, what is my SSD drive. So I'm going to click on this now, and then what it's going to do is going to install it into the EFI part. So I'm just going to click on that as well. I'm just going to put our password in again. So this is my silly password here for this demo. And OpenCore is just going to install some patches and bits and pieces. You'll also get this pop-up as well saying that it needs to basically reboot to apply basically the OpenCore into the EFI partition. And what we want to do is we want to click on that reboot option, and your screen may freeze for a second or two. Not to worry about it. It just takes a couple of seconds to kick in, and then you'll probably actually get the main sort of restart option as you can see right here. I'm not going to reopen any other windows again because we're never going to be booting this again. So I'm just going to click restart. So your machine will shut down now. Now on the next step, if you haven't actually pressed restart, it doesn't really matter as long as your computer has been shut down completely. That's what matters here. So what you want to do next of all is basically hold down your finger on the actual power button, and then what you want to do is hold down the Alt button or the Option key as it turns on. And what you'll get eventually is some options displaying in front of you. So you'll see an OpenCore one, a disk one, and you'll see a USB stick one. So what you want to do is actually select the EFI boot option. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to move my mouse over. and select EFI boot, click on this for it to load up, and then what we want to do is we want to move over to install macOS Monterey. Click on this, you should get the Apple logo, and let this basically install now, and just leave it till we get to the next part. So I'm just going to skip this to the next part now. Now afterwards, this is loaded, you should get to this page right here, and what you want to do is you want to go down to disk utility at the bottom first of all, because we want to wipe our actual internal hard drive. So what we do, we want to go onto this, we want to select our main hard drive. This was macOS, remember, not my 500GB spinny. So I'm just going to select this now, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to erase here, and we want to make it macOS and APFS. So I'm going to select that, click erase, and let that erase itself. So it won't take too long to do. It might take a minute or two depending on how quick your hard drive is too. So let's just let that complete. And then afterwards, we just want to click on done, and then everything should be completed here. So what we can do after this, we can come out of disk utility, just click on the cross, and then we want to click on install macOS Monterey, and we want to click continue. So this might take again a second or two to load, depending on how fast your Mac is or how slow your Mac is. And then we want to click continue again at the bottom. Might take a second or two again to load up. So just let us wait. Don't worry if you get the little spinny wheel. There's nothing to worry about at all. So just going to let this finish here. And then what we want to do is we just want to agree to the terms and conditions. Click agree here. And then what we want to do is install it onto our SSD. What's macOS for me. So I'm going to click continue. And basically we just let this run now. So you can make yourself a cup of tea, make yourself a coffee or whatever you like to fancy. Just let it run. Now your screen may flash once or twice. At the same time it may even restart your Mac. Just don't worry about it at all. You just want to leave it just run. In fact, I'll show you what happens when it does restart, when this completes. It does this. You'll get a white screen maybe, or even possibly a black screen, and then afterwards what you want to do is click on the macOS installer, the one with the hard drive. It should just do it automatically like it has done here. If it hasn't, just click on it and it will just continue on to install macOS, and you may get some more minutes. You may have to wait for this to install. This whole install process can take anything from about half an hour all the way up to 4 hours, depending on how fast your Mac is. So don't worry, don't think if it's got frozen or anything after 2 hours, it may still just be going. It can take a long time, especially on older machines with less RAM and also with an older processor, and maybe even if you've still got a spinny hard drive. It can take a while to do, but don't worry about it. I'd get concerned if it's still going after, say, 10 hours. Then maybe you might have to restart the whole process all over again. But apart from that, just let it run, because remember guys, this isn't designed for this Mac, and so it is going to take a bit longer than your kind of casual quick Macs that we have today. Once the installation has fully completed, your screen might go a bit sort of a grey sort of colour. Excuse the light here bouncing back, but you know, once the grey kicks in here and actually the main colours come back, you'll see the screen a bit more clearly. So let this just load a little bit longer and you should start getting some more colours now. There we go. Sorry it's a little bit blurry. Just get my camera to maybe a bit more auto focus if I can on this. There we go. So what you want to do next of all is select your country. Now I will say this. Some of you guys out there may notice your mouse is extremely slow and it keeps freezing and stopping. And the main reason behind this is we haven't installed the graphic patches yet. You're just going to have to bear with this until you can actually get these patches on. But what you want to do is you'll just want to select the country you're from. I'm from the United Kingdom. I know I'm doing this quicker than some of you guys will be seeing. But after we've done these next steps, we can install those patches to make the graphics quick again. So don't worry about it. It's really sticky and it's freezing. Your mouse only moves a slight bit. So after this step, we want to click continue. We want to make sure that we've got everything written and spoken language is okay. Click continue again. Accessibility, we don't really need. After this, what we want to do is you want to type in your password for your Wi-Fi. So you can do this, or you can connect in an Ethernet cable if your Mac can do that as well. Either way. So I'm just going to select my Wi-Fi here and put the password in. Like I say again, if it's slower than this, guys, don't worry. Patches are coming soon. But I'm just going to put my password in here. And after the password is put in, because we'll need an internet connection for this next step, we want to click continue and just let this finish. Then after this, you should get to the next screen, data and privacy. We just want to click continue on this. On this stage here, you can migrate your data over. So if you have done a time machine backup and if it is compatible, you can actually get your data back onto your MacBook at this stage if you want to do so. I'm not going to do that at this stage, so for now I'm going to click on Not Now. But don't worry, you can do the migration assistant later on once you've got your Mac set up. So don't worry if you don't want to do your backup retrieval right now. So with that out of the way, let's just click Not Now. And then what you can do next of all is sign in with your Apple account. As this is just a test purpose, I'm not going to actually sign in this time round. But if you want to sign in, you can do this. And you probably have to do a two-way authentication. But like I said, not doing it for this test purposes. So I'm going to click Set Up Later. And I'm going to click Skip here. We've got some more terms and conditions. Just going to agree to those. And then you can name your computer. So I'm just going to name this as Matt. As you can see here, I'm just going to put a code in, just simple 1234 again. You can put in whatever password you want and a reminder as well. Just click continue. Like I did say to you guys, your mouse be a bit slow here if you are using an older machine, but those patches, they're coming very soon. I promise you, we're going to be installing those patches extremely soon. So let's just make this account creation. And then next of all, let's just enable location services just to help with like maps, things like that. Click continue on this. And then next of all, analytics. I'm just going to switch this off. Don't really want to send data to Apple on this test machine. So I'm just going to click continue. You can also set up screen time settings if you really want to do that. But again, I'm just going to click set up later for me, but you can set that up. You've got Siri. I'm just going to leave this switched on. And then you can select a voice for your Siri as well. So I'm just going to select this one and click continue. Again, I'm not going to share any data or anything about this because it's just a test machine for you guys. And then we can just leave this run for a second. And then personally, what I would suggest is picking the dark mode at this stage, and it will help with graphics as well. For some strange reason, Macs work in dark mode better before we stick these patches on if you are sticking around with your mouse and things like that. If not, just do auto if everything's working fine, but just for the purpose of this, I'm going to do dark. Click continue, and now after this, your Mac should start to set itself up. So the keyboard assistant has appeared. I'm just going to get rid of this because I don't really need it at all. It's just because it's confused about what this keyboard is because it's an older Mac. But there we have it. We are on the desktop. And as you can see, we are on Mac OS Monterey. I'm just going to actually show this and about this PC. And there we go. As you can even see here, it says a MacBook Pro. It's a 2012 model, dual core i5, my 10 gigabytes of RAM installed, DDR3. So it's all fully working, and we're on version 12.4, and that's the version that's out at the time of making this video, so you might be on a newer version than that. So let's go up here then to storage, show you how much has been used. You can see a bit of the storage has been used on the macOS hard drive there. Still got my spinny drive, and at the bottom you can see my USB stick still inside, but we can take that out in a bit. We'll get to that in a second. But RAM, you can see here, we've got the 8 gig and 2 gig installed. So everything is fully working. So this is really amazing that we've managed to get this installed on a machine that officially cannot run Monterey. But next of all, we want to get these patches. So what we want to do is we want to open up OpenCore, but we want to put it on the desktop. So copy this over to your desktop from your USB stick, depending how quick it takes on your machine. And then open it up. You might get that security message again. So let's just see if we get one this time. Nope, I don't think we are. No, we haven't. But if you do, just do the same steps at the beginning of this video with the legacy patch to enable that. But what we want to do is click on Post Install Root Patch. And as you can see, it's worked out that I've got Ivy Bridge graphics and needs a patch for that. So what we're going to do is we're going to go down to the Start Root Patching. So I'm just going to click on that, and then it's going to say relaunch as root. So I'm just going to click yes. So all this is going to do is put you into admin mode. You just need to put in your password. So my 1234 temporary password here. So it's just going to relaunch OpenCore. Just take a few seconds to do that. So it's going to complete it. And there we go. It's going to start to install the bits and pieces now for my machine, the patches to make everything work far better. So like those graphics patches I was telling you about, this is where they are. They're installing right now, and they might take a minute or two to install depending on what type of machine you have and how many patches are available for it. So just let this run. I have heard some people say this takes about 20 minutes for some machines, but some can just take a minute. There we go, we're done though. So it only took about a minute or two. I'm going to click reboot now. Same sort of window as before. I'm going to click restart, and we're going to let this completely restart. And it'd be quite interesting to know how fast this actually restarts with macOS Monterey, what's now actually built for this machine. So that's restarted quite quickly here. We've got the white screen. There we go. What we're going to click on, we're going to click on macOS because we still got that USB stick inside. So I'm just going to let this boot. Let's see how fast this takes to boot up. Remember, the machine I'm demoing here is 10 years old, so it will take a little bit of time to actually do this. So far we're taking about 15-20 seconds. Oh, I think we might actually be done in a second. That was quicker than I thought, actually. And there we go, we're ready to go. So I'm going to put in my code, and let's see how quickly we get to the desktop. This should be quite quick as well. That is very quick. And remember, like I said, this is a 10-year machine, so it shows it can be run on this machine, macOS Monterey. Let's just test Safari here, see how long that takes to load. It's taking a few seconds. It's the first time it's ever been opened, but that was quick actually, even though it was the first time. Let's go to apple.com. Why not, hey? That's taking a little bit longer, but you know, it's the first time it's ever loaded this. No cookies, no cache. But there we go, you can see. There's Mac's or Apple's website more like, and you can see it's working absolutely fine. Also want to point out at this point, you can remove your USB stick if you wanted to do so. And also that open core patcher, you can actually delete this now. We don't actually need it anymore. So I'm just going to move that to the bin, empty that, and we're all done there. Let's get rid of that. And like I said, let's just disconnect that USB stick as well because it's no longer needed. But there we go. We've got a fully working macOS Monterey on an unsupported Mac. Well, there you have it, folks. If you followed all the steps correctly, you should now have macOS Monterey on your Mac. And what I also will say right now, I am going to be making a new video for the latest version of macOS that's coming out very soon at the time of making this video. And I'll show you guys how to install that on an unsupported Mac very soon as well. But if you guys have found this video really helpful, I would appreciate a like. And also at the same time as well, if you want the latest Apple news, reviews and comparisons and guides like this, please make sure you subscribe to this channel and also hit that notification bell. Until next time, guys, I'll see you soon. Take care.